And I'm going to do this. It's a very small thing. It's my small thing, and it works, and it's so lovely. All right, enough about that. I'm early. I'm 2 minutes early. I'm all excited for a couple of reasons. Today I get to go back to the bank. That's entirely a journey of determination to just get the right thing done. And it's ironic, really, that I'm going to be doing that this afternoon, given that the topic today for the video is why we have this fixation with the quick fix. Because clearly, that bank has never heard of that. And so possibly this is my lesson. I don't know. In any case, I'm here to talk to you today about something that irks me. It's a kvetch, and I know it's a kvetch, and I can feel it, and I'm aware that that takes me to a dark place, except that I don't think it's dark exactly. I think it's more, about a search for knowledge. Do we love this all the news that's fit to print thing I've got on here? I saw it and I said, I don't know, and yes. So the conversation that I want to have today is an exercise in the pendulum swinging from excited and invested and eager to ho-hum and lazy. And because our pendulums do that, because they swing from all the way to all the way, the trick for us in life, in any pursuit, is to catch the pendulum at the point that works the best for us, to catch the wave just as it breaks, to ride that energy and that surge to the place we want it to take us. And the conversation has already caused me to get engaged with people who staunchly defend the other side of the discussion, and that's perfectly fine because I think it's important. So before I go there, just as it is now 10 o'clock, I'm going to say good morning again. I'm going to pick up my coffee and say cheers, and we'll have a little sip. Good choice. And then I'll give you a really quick backstory, and we will carry on. A long time ago, in a far-off land, there was a king who had a beautiful daughter, the princess, and she fell sideways into show business. And it was an extraordinary opportunity. It was an extraordinary adventure, one domino tapping the next one over there and the next one over there. And for a while, there was a great deal of busyness in my life. And I had some work modeling, and I had some work in publishing, and I had some work in hospitality and tourism. And then my college mentor, he was half of a production duo, stage and television, and he hired me to come and be his assistant. And as a result of that, I got to see what it was like on the inside of creating content and creating concepts and taking them from what if to good morning, Freddie, from what if to aha. And I was hooked. I was completely and irreversibly hooked on that trajectory, taking an idea that goes ping in your head and seeing it come to life on stage or on television or on film or in books. It's the best magic I'd ever experienced, and I couldn't wait to do more every time I finished a project. And so it has shaped my life. And especially important to me, it shaped my life when all of a sudden all the productions that were going on in my corner of the world wrapped up, and there wasn't anything new coming. And I had made the mistake. I had not a mistake. I had succeeded to the extent that no one felt comfortable hiring me to do anything else. And my bad, what I had failed to do in the process of having a great time doing yes to all these projects, but I had forgotten to update my brand. I had forgotten to make sure people were still excited about my range of skills, my backstory, my work before the big splash. And we are all guilty of it. And we don't go back and do that kind of, it's tiring drudge work to rethink and revise, because the quick fix is to just keep saying yes to the same thing, which is how we end up with endless police dramas on television, why we end up with, all of a sudden there seems to be a surge of romantic comedies, while there'll be detective stories, why there'll be adventure movies, why there'll be animation superheroes everywhere you look. It's because people just keep doing the same thing. If it ain't broke, why fix it? And the thing is that eventually it does break. And if you don't have something in place, it's a long road to reinvention. And by that time, the attention span of the public has moved on to someone else and something else. So in my return to Ottawa after my time away, working kind of behind the scenes, first of all in a writer's agency and then as a publisher, I felt it was time to come back before people completely forgot me forever. Remind people who I am, who I was to a lot of people, if you can see Mom and the Care Bears, and then give everyone permission to get to know who started it, who's on the inside working the puppets, who's creating the concepts, and who might have something new up her sleeve. So this has been a project in the works for Revitalize the Brand. Exactly, Freddie. This has been a project in the works since 2016, 2017. So that means that I was really only off the radar from 2004. So 10, 12 years. And then I've been slowly, gradually, inevitably, relentlessly putting the pieces together for the restart, the reset, the rebrand, the reconnect to all the people who knew me when. Because the best outcome is if you knew me when. What happens when you know me now? What can we do together that brings the past and the future in alignment? Where can we take it? Is the sky the limit? Absolutely. Because the beauty of the Care Bears, and you get them on television, is that they were global. They went nuts. Thanks to Nickelodeon and the U.S. Armed Forces Network, we were seen in countries all over the world endlessly, 4 or 5 times a day on the dedicated channels. So all the kids of military service personnel came back home after their tours of duty saying, we need more, we need more. Nickelodeon became a thing, and so did we. And I am still, Nick's first TV mom. I'm the person they said, you got to get us a mom, Roger. And he said, oh, all right then. And here I was, and there I am. And so now my job, I feel, is to give you a sense of connection to the person I call Abby Mom. A little bit Dear Abby, a whole lot of what's that, dear? And with some Care Bear love on the side. What my goal is in this process I'm creating, in this idea of a mindset shift, an almost a dance, a pivotry dance in which we say, wait, what's that over there? Huh, I wonder if it comes in blue. That's the concept of rethinking who we are, rethinking what we've done, reimagining what we can do. This is my passion heart piece project now. And it's allowing me to do a lot of things that I've always done. I just didn't have a container with a name on it to put them in. It gives me an opportunity to do videos with you, to talk to you, to get to know you, and to remind you of things we don't give enough thought to because we're busy. We're all busy. So in my telling you these things that I've surmised and surprised, I'm I'm inviting you to walk with me. I'm inviting you to say, okay, so I was good at that, but that's a while ago. What am I good at now? What can I repurpose? What can I reset? What can I reinvent to reconnect with the person I was, who's still here right now? And so do I become a mentor? Do I become a guide? Do I become a navigator? Do I become a Sherpa? I think I become all of those things, far more than coach, far more than mentor. Because the coach is out there talking to you, and I'm in here with you. I'm in it. I've got this Viking boat and all these empty seats and oars. And if I excite you enough and invite you enough, my hope is that you'll come inside. You'll choose a window or an aisle seat. And I will say, okay, who wants Fashion Week in Paris? Who wants to discover a new land, a new us? Who wants to make it work for us, with us? And then we get going. This is the concept. This is the Abbey world, the new Abbey world. Welcome to my new Abbey world. And the idea with Pivotry in Motion is that I can guide you, I can navigate you, I can cheer you on, I can discuss with you and mentor you and become your devil's advocate. I can sit down with your group, your organization, your people, and say, let's talk about things no one talks about. I have this great set of tools and steps that I've designed to take care of something I call executive grief. So executive grief, if you look it up, it doesn't exist because I've created it. The part of the brain that understands cause and effect, that looks at what if, it is called executive function. When we are decision makers, when people rely on us to get things done, we are placing front and center our ability to do that, our ability to set our personal stuff aside and make decisions that other people need in order to succeed. And when we professionally use our executive function, we're CEOs, we're doctors, we're teachers, we're first responders, we're soldiers, we're fire and rescue people, we're parents, we're coaches, we're leaders. And when something touches us deeply and hurts us badly at the purely personal, emotional level, this terrifying thing happens to us. Our subconscious emotional brain ignores the thinking brain. It cannot find a reason to get up and put its socks on. And it abandons the thinking brain that has made promises to so many people. And so the grief that we experience when we know what's going on is that we've made promises we can't keep. On top of the fact that we're overwhelmed with grief. And I have a process to help us deal with that, to help us come back around and climb over on top. And I've used it a lot, and it works. So there's that. There's the serious side of repurposing and reimagining and reinvigorating ourselves as the jobs we do, the people who people rely on. And there's also the fun of talking about, wait, what was I thinking? So that's where we are. That's what Pivotry is. And today, the conversation I want to have is, what on earth is our fixation with the quick fix. What is up with that? It blows me away. Showing us the way. Yes, Freddie, I am. If people are paying attention, that is the plan. So the quick fix. I personally feel, it's an aside here, I personally feel that a warm beverage that lubricates the throat and softens everything, relaxes everything, is 80% of the attraction with coffee and tea and things like that. It's the warmth, it's soothing, and it's making, right? So back when I was very small, you can eat a person. Some clever soul came up with something in the education realm called Cliff's Notes. And teachers immediately everywhere burst into tears, and students everywhere went huzzah, because it meant that they didn't have to read the greatest story ever told. They could just buy the 10-page booklet on it that only hit the high points. And I remember having teachers say, you have the wrong name at the top of your essay. No, I don't, ma'am. My name is Bob Johnson. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean the person who handed it in. I mean where the information came from. It should be Cliff's essay, because it's Cliff's notes that you clearly used to write this. Of course, today we don't have Cliff Notes. We don't need Cliff's Notes. Today, in the recent past, we had Google, and now we have AI, and everybody is leaping to the opportunity to ask those processes, those software, a question, and have the software give us the answer. And I get the value in terms of what data collecting, I suppose, saving time. The thing is, what we are not doing in our rush to do less, to let go of more, is we're not looking at the outcome. We're just so keen for the quick fix. We're not seeing the byproducts and the side effects. We're not looking, we're not listening, we're not curious anymore. We've become mentally lazy because, hey, why do the work if somebody else will do it for me? Back in the day, people I knew used to pay other people I knew to write their essays for them. Now, you just hit the button and AI doesn't even charge you yet. So I know I'm setting something up that feels like door number 1 and door number 2, and where, Abby, is door number 3, but I will get there, I promise you. So here's the thing that is so important to pay attention to. I'm not talking about how accurate these programs are. I'm not talking about how we verify, how we do a third-party search without using AI to double check on AI. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what it does to us, okay? Because my goal always and forever is quality of life, quality of life, quality of growth, not mere survival, but thrival, if that's a word. I'm looking for the number of moments when we legitimately achieve the right to spike the ball and say, got it, and feel that passion of reaching something tough to find. This is what keeps us young and vibrant and alive. So here's the thing that has been studied, and it's been studied every which way you want to look at it, by all kinds of people, whether it's behavioral people or it's the science and the observation of what happens when you keep doing a thing and you keep doing a thing. If you look at the Grand Canyon, the reason for the erosion is drops of water over time. If you look at paths that appear in the woods, it is the repetition of the animals coming from where they are hidden to the pond to drink. And they take the road most traveled to get there in the quickest time. And eventually all those little pitty-pat hooves create a groove, and the grass no longer grows there. The moss grows on the other side. This is what happens with repeated behavior. So the rule, the definition of success that I'm crazy about. I absolutely love this definition of success. And I hope it strikes you too. The true definition of success is consistent action repeated over time. That's it. Talent is not the primary factor. Innovation is not the primary factor. The deep, deep, abiding factor that is proven repeatedly, no matter how it is tested, is that a successful outcome, and how do we define success? Let's say popularity. Let's say frequency of use. Let's say recognition, reward, renown. Let's say fame. The definition, the true definition of all those things is consistent action repeated over time. What is a consistent action? If you made a vow to yourself to eat 5 Twinkies a day, every day for a year without fail, you could predict with a high probability of being right that you would gain weight and lose health. It's a simple equation. 5 Twinkies a day for 365 days without fail. If you would succeed in being fatter and slower and unhealthier. If you turn it around, decided to do 30 minutes of exercise every morning for a year, 20 minutes even, a 20-minute workout, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter whether you do core, doesn't matter whether you do cardio, doesn't matter whether you do strength training, does not matter whether you're doing it for flexibility, does not matter. If you commit to 20 minutes of exercise every day for 365 days, guaranteed your body will be in better shape. You will be healthier. You will feel more motivated. You will be living a higher quality of life. Guaranteed. No question. You don't have to do 3 hours. You don't have to run a 10-mile marathon once a month. None of that is necessary unless you want to, unless you're striving for a very specific goal. But the basic fundamental definition of success is consistent action repeated over time. So let's talk about AI. Let's talk about Cliff's Notes. Let's go all the way back to Cliff's Notes. If I don't have to read Great Expectations, which is however many hundreds of pages, if I don't have to slog my way through chapter after chapter of the rise and fall of everybody, if I don't have to read every religious tome ever put to paper, if I can just do it with Cliff Notes, if I can just do it with AI, if I just say, tell me the 6 times something has happened and I am given the answer. Do you know what I get really good at if I do that every day for a year? Do you know what I get really good at? I get really good at asking something else to do the research. I get really good at asking something else to hand me the answer almost the minute I want it. flawlessly execute. That's what I get good at. Do I actually know more? Can I just copy and paste it? Do I have to read it? Do I have to understand the cause and effect of anything? No, I don't. If the only thing I know how to do repeatedly, consistently, over time, is to ask someone else to do the work, I don't get smarter. I don't get better at seek and find. I don't get better at understanding cause and effect unless I take the information given to me and actually read it. But if all I'm doing is multiple choice answers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, without actually caring what the question is, I become slow. If everyone around me is doing the same thing, we all become slow. If we're all slow, no one knows. Unless, of course, some bright person comes skipping along in between us. Pardon me, coming through. Hello, how you doing? And we think, what the hell was that? I don't know. Look it up. And because I because I begin everything with the end in mind, a product of being a military child, with no idea how long I'm going to be here in this particular place at this particular time before we're on to the next one. I want to know what it's going to look like when I complete each task. Because when I can see the end, I can transport that with me. And I can continue my process and my progress someplace else. When I came up with the concept of Pivotry in motion, COVID had just begun. And for the first time in a long time, I saw large groups of people not showing any resilience whatsoever. I saw people hitting walls and falling down and reverting to their 5-year-old selves, lost in shopping malls looking for mom. I saw people becoming exhausted, operating in a gear called functional freeze. Fight, flee, freeze, hide. Functional freeze is going through the motions with no emotional impact, no excitement, no investment in the outcome, simply by rote, numbing our senses. I saw that. And all the other work I was doing, all of that other stuff went on hold. We came out of COVID, barely out of COVID, just had time to raise our heads and look at the blue sky and smell the flowers. And my dear sweet friend Dave got horribly ill. And another passage of time took over while I escorted him to his threshold. And because I had begun this concept of Pivotry in motion with the end in mind, every chance I got to breathe, to reset, to go and seek and find my energy, my sense of me in the midst of this overwhelm, so that I could reset, so that I could make sure my boat was still on track. I had the skills, I had the tools, I had the direction and the motivation and the inspiration to pick up where I left off, to continue my journey to this other side where people get with excitement that they have this extraordinary ability to own and grow and thrive. And every person that I talk to, every person that I deal with, every client I mentor, once they hit that moment and they say, oh my gosh, somebody said, I feel taller. I said, I know, right? I got this. This is mine. This is mine to own. And we don't feel that when we say, could you get that for me? I don't want to. Could you, when you're up, could you get me that? I don't feel like it. When we say to AI, tell me everything I need to know, AI doesn't have the faintest idea what that means. It doesn't know what you need to know, but it gives back in remarkably short time lots and lots of stuff, and you get to cherry pick. And if you've forgotten how to cherry pick, you can ask it to cherry pick for you, and it will pull up keywords and it will simplify. And where we then end up is with a blindingly dull revisit of same old. I have a couple of very good friends. I like to call them my very good friends, who are movers and shakers behind the scenes in show business. They're agents and they're managers and they're connectors and they're promoters and they're publicists. And every time I talk to them about their role in the trajectory that their clients are on, the biggest challenge they have is finding a new way to say the same old, is finding a new reason to excite an audience that doesn't want to get up off the couch. There's a joke, a meme of something that says, I'm so lazy, I won't get up when the remote falls on the floor. Okay, so you're going to do well in the jungle. There's a survival mechanism gone wrong. And how to excite those people, how to blindside them, how to surprise them, how to go up behind people who have no energy for anything and go boo with sufficient element of surprise and suddenness that they are startled out of their whine. They're startled out of their, are there more chips? We're out of dip. So my middle door today, my middle path today in my kvetch about what is our fixation? What is it about the quick fix? The answer is instant gratification. The answer is quantity now. Not quality grown over time. I read somewhere a remarkable thing, that the reason a Rolls Royce costs more than pick any standard compact car is because it takes 6 months to hand build a Rolls Royce. It's because it is created and crafted and assembled by experts who do it with care. It is a product of engineering and design and a search for quality and excellence. When we go on our touristy journeys and we sign up for these opportunities to walk these centuries-old paths and walk through castles that were the homes of leaders and legends eons ago, and we stand there and we marvel at how those places were even built, how long it took, and what it meant to be part of that process, and why those countries that have those places are such a mecca, and why the people who curate them are so proud. When we go on our journeys and we have on our list the 7 wonders of the world, the 7 wonders were divined, designed, crafted, and maintained by people who had a vision of a legacy to leave behind. And that's really all there is. One of the reasons that organizations like Ancestry and 23andMe are doing so well is because people are realizing that they don't know who they are and they don't know where they're from. And you need to know those 2 things if you really have any understanding of your hunger and your excitement to figure out where you're going. You have to know where you're from. You have to know who your people are. All the people who invest their time and energy in the horoscopes and astrology. And if you're born in this month, and if you're born under that star or that sign or that influence from wherever, the likelihood is that your day will be this, and you will be as you grow old. We do have that hunger to know who we are. We do have that wondering if we will ever find someone who feels like part of us from the moment we meet. We do have that desire to connect deeply, to know that on a cloudy, rainy, cold, unhappy day, in the wake of the tornado or the flood or the hurricane, there are people who get us, who miss us, who cherish us. We have this human, tribal, ancient need to belong. These are stories that we tell ourselves, that are told to us by the people who shape us. These are legacy anchor points. They're the tent pegs that hold us erect on the good days and the bad. We can't find those. We can't find the ones that intrinsically mean something to us by asking a robot to look it up. I had this conversation the other day with somebody who often is a great source of joy and wonder and assistance in the work that I do. And I was saying, do not, under any circumstances, use AI to come up with phrases for what I'm doing. And this person said, why not? I do it all the time. And I said, okay, I'm creating something that has not existed. You can't use an information aggregating tool to deliver the information on something that didn't pre-exist. What it will come up with is something that may have a similar vibe. A word that sounds like, looks like, means similar to. That's not a help to me. And if you use that program, I now have to go back and double check everything you chose or it chose to make sure it is exactly what I mean. Therefore, I'm doing work, you're doing work, and now I'm doing work again because a mechanism is not suited for this task. And there was we had this conversation, and the agreement was to disagree because this individual has such great success using that process. And I said, then it's fine. It's okay. If that is how you want to work, that's fine. We're just not going to use that and you on this. That's all. And I will figure out another way, because all things are not equal. If I need to get somewhere quickly in the rain, I'm not going to take a bicycle. Probably I'm going to take a car, a bus, or a train. Doesn't mean I don't love the bicycle anymore. It just means not today. Are you looking at what's going on outside? So in our good morning, Scott, how nice to see you. And by the way, Paul, if you're watching, I wanted to mention that much of what I'm saying today is very, very focused on the role that you are playing, that you and Amy are playing. It's very, very focused on the celebration of originality and the willingness to put in the work to achieve it. That is where I'm going with a lot of this today. Just saying. So, in fact, as I just explained, the celebration of originality is something we're not doing enough of. I'm going to go to a fan event in 2 weeks, 12 days, 11 days. And it is going to be fun. And the reason it's going to be fun for me and for the people who come to see me is that every year I do something different. Every year I add a layer to the creative ways that I surprise and delight and entertain the people who come to my booth. Because what I bring to that event, of course, I'm invited as Abby Mom, of course, because these fan events, these, the cosplayers and the people who love that show in this series, they are celebrating the things they loved in their childhood and the things that they continue to love today. And if they loved You Can't Do That on Television and the Care Bears or the Teddy Ruxpin or For Better For Worse or any of the shows that I worked on, of course they want to come and say hi. That's a normal. However, that doesn't take us anywhere together. That keeps us anchored in that crossroads at that first and former time. How do I keep the excitement alive? I create something new every time. I can't use Cliff's Notes to summarize what I did before to come up with something new. I don't need an aggregating tool that tells me all the things that people do at these events, because as my great friend Derek Fage once said on live television, I go to a lot of these events, Abby, and my question is, why are you there? Thanks, Derek. because at these events there are people who represent the collectible community. There are people who, they are here to sign their picture. They're here to talk about the series and how it's being, reimagined by Marvel, and what is happening with your collection of superhero prints on your wall, and are you missing this one collectible item which I created originally and I have the authority to distribute prints of. That's not me. I'm not going to make liver and lima beans for people. I'm not going to put on the dress and walk around patting people and saying, that's nice, dear. Why not? Because it doesn't move me forward. It doesn't give new life and new excitement and new anticipation to the people who care about me. If we digress for just a second and we talk about a phenomenon that is taking place around the world, the business concept, the strategic advances that Taylor Swift and her organization have made in the concept of the live music concert experience, and how that team of hers, with her leadership, have chosen to make the concert a give back situation and funnel for every place they visit, how they've encouraged people to connect with the communities. And the outcome financially for these cities and towns and countries around the world is that the numbers of people who are going, that the niche market that is going is so broad that these different cities and towns and countries are seeing massive visits, massive tourism, massive hospitality shifts and changes in their economies. Never happened before. You know, I don't go to a lot of concerts. I'm not really musical. I'm not, I'm not allowed to sing. They've passed a bylaw. But you don't hear in the popular press the numbers of people whose lives and businesses and traffic to the cities and towns and countries, and the give backs, that the money that is reinvested by the corporation in the city and town, investing money in food banks and shelters and educational opportunities. The numbers of well-known celebrities who have made it a point to make that part of what they do. You don't hear many of them. You don't hear that their job is to thank the places that host them in tangible ways that make a difference. That is original. Now it will be copied, yay. It will be promoted, yay. It will be polished and improved on, yay. So that there is a relationship, a symbiotic relationship between the celebrity, the audience, the event, and the home. So that there is good coming and going in equal measure. It's paying it forward and paying it back, and paying it up, paying it down. It's re-envisioning how we not only survive, how we thrive and grow, and how all of our connections have power to inspire, to enlighten, to educate, to motivate, and celebrate. So in that larger picture, for the people who are the planners and the thinkers and the distributors and the promoters and the producers and all of the showrunners and the street crew that put the posters up, how are you going to make it fresh and new? How are you going to come up with something exciting and original if you don't have a think tank that thinks outside the box, that is using the human ingenuity and innovative aspects of creation to build and structure and imagine something with heart and soul and substance? How are we going to do that if the only thing we get gooder at is asking someone to do the work for us? How do we get better? How do I get more fit? How am I more fun to be with if I hand off all that effort and energy to someone else and I just take credit for it? How does that make me more and better? When I go to a fan event, I look for ways to cause the utmost damned astonishment. Everybody comes with an expectation. Yeah, watch this. I had a conversation many years ago. I had done Ottawa Comic Con, and I had asked the organizer if it was possible to go to Montreal. And he had said, and reasonably, in a heartbeat, Abby, I would have you there. The thing is, I don't know that you'd get traffic to your booth because your shows weren't seen in that province. They if the shows were seen, they were dubbed. So if it's cartoons, it wasn't your voice, and the live action show that you did wasn't broadcast there unless they had satellite and they were getting it from someplace else. The primary audience is not yours in that location. And I said, I understand. And he said, pretty much anywhere else, though, there's a great reason for it. But in that particular area, it is so kind of um, incorporated and encapsulated. I don't see there would be a benefit to you. And I respected his decision because this is what the guy does for a living. Okay, but then the hysterical thing was that fans of all of our stuff who had come to Ottawa reached out and said they were getting married and they were going to have their honeymoon in Quebec and go to Montreal Comic Con. Would I go there and join them so that I could meet his bride? And I said absolutely. And then I made a few phone calls. And then I don't know really quite how that all fell together so quickly, but in 4 days, because he reached out to me very last minute. Hi, we're going to be there. We're going to be there in 6 days. What? And so in 4 days, four days in the window, I came up with not only one booth, the Klingons, to host me, but I came up with a connection with the 501 Legion, which is, of course, the Empire and the Dark Empire. I made a connection with the Vikings booth and a Doctor Who booth because they were all in close proximity, and in quick conversations back and forth, the agreement was that we would do a Klingon wedding ceremony. Surprise! Don't tell them. We would do a Klingon wedding ceremony at the Klingon booth. We would use the 501 Legion to march through the entire con in order to bring the bride and groom to their wedding ceremony. My Viking ancestors represented my side of the celebration, and Doctor Who was the next door neighbor booth, realized that the bride was going to be wearing a TARDIS pattern dress. So we had robots and we had soldiers and we had druids and droids and all manner of creatures from places I'd never imagined, all gathered together, pretty much stopping traffic at this event that my organizer, dear, great, wonderful friend, said there's no reason anybody would pay attention to what you were doing there. They weren't actually paying attention to me. It was the aggregate. It was the putting together of all of those pieces. However, the end game was nobody had ever done anything quite that original there, and probably never will. And not only did I have all that happen, but I managed to get within my grasp a video company and a television producer and 4 professional photographers and a music arranger to be at the event, see what's going on, capture the moments, and then actually put together a video, which was given to the bride and groom as a wedding gift. I'll see you, AI, and raise you, is what I'm saying. If we want something uniquely human and uniquely original, uniquely magical, it must begin with us. It must always begin with us, because this is who we are. So in our fixation for the quick fix, my only caveat today, my loves, my lovelies, is to go back to the beginning and ask yourself, on this quest, what is it that you truly hope to find? Just ask yourself that. Do you wish to learn and grow and thrive? No? Okay, then. That's the question. And this is part of what Pivotry is for. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like there's what's the point? Would you like some help with that? I have a few ideas in mind. Welcome to the family. Abby Mom is here to serve. It's not a spectator sport, though. Right now, what we're doing is I am sharing the information. I am laying the ground so that we can walk the path together. And I hope you're with me. Okay. This afternoon, the bank. Let's all think good thoughts about an absolutely brilliant, simple win. Let's all think good thoughts about that. And then on Thursday, I have something else really cool that I want to talk about. And I hope you will join me then. I hope you will find the time. If not directly at the moment that I'm live, that you will at least come back and look at it on the other platforms or this platform when you have the time. I hope you will join me. And now, you know the drill. Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones. They deserve it too. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with me. It would not be the same without you. And I'll catch you next time.